When I say the word GOAT, who comes to your mind? Michael Jordan or Tom Brady? Obviously, both of them have dominated their own sports. So much so that not many players come close. But these days, many people are comparing the two icons, so who'd win in a GOAT-off? Let's dive in. Since the Super Bowl is still fresh in everyone's memory, let's break down Brady's career first. There's no denying that his GOAT status, he's a total god of football. I mean, the man has won 7 Super Bowls. Yes, 7 freaking Super Bowls. That's more than anyone else in the whole NFL franchise. Who can top that? The only NFL player that comes close to this record is Charles Haley, who won 5 during his time with the Dallas Cowboys and San Francisco 49ers. Brady is obviously the undisputed champ. He has more Super Bowl rings than some quarterbacks' busts have played games in the NFL. Let's do a deep dive into his championship ratio to see just how much he has dominated the field. Over his 20 seasons as a starter, Brady has made the Super Bowl 50% of the time and has won 35% of the time. That's a pretty untouchable record, folks. I guess you could argue that football is a team sport and the whole team wins championships, not an individual player. But that argument fails when it comes to Brady because he's won the Super Bowl with 2 different teams. He's got the championship ring with the New England Patriots numerous times, but he also won one with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2020. Clearly, the man is an MVP, and he has 5 of those titles to prove it. And if those reasons aren't enough, here are a couple more to prove that he fully deserves GOAT status. The man will still be playing at 44. Remember when the clock started ticking when Brady turned 35? That was around 10 years ago. At 44, Brady is still taking hits, grinding tape, and winning games left, right, and center. The man has single-handedly redefined the quarterback's life expectancy. On top of that, his 2020 record alone is a class apart, a bona fide success. He posted close to a 4.0 touchdown to interception ratio and threw over 4,500 yards. That's 40 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. Other players could never. I mean, who else can claim they've defeated 31 NFL teams at least once? Or that they were the 6th round pick? Or that they've made the playoffs for 20 seasons as a healthy starter? Pretty much no one. So yes, Tom Brady is the GOAT. In the football league at least. Now let's move on to Michael Jordan, the undisputed king of basketball. There's no one in the world that hasn't heard MJ's name or doesn't know of his 6 rings. I mean, basketball has had a bunch of good players, but only few can be considered great. The name Michael Jordan and the word legend just go hand in hand, and here's why. MJ has won 6 championships, 5 MVP titles, and averaged around 30 points per game. He was an outclassed defender, an incredible leader, and an amazing all-around athlete. There were no chinks in MJ's armor, and it showed season after season. The man is the blueprint. He's one of the few players in NBA history who excelled on both ends of the floor. Generally, players tend to specialize on one end. Many of the greats, like Trae Young and Carmelo Anthony, were only ever good at offense or defense. Not MJ, though. He was a 10-time scoring champion and a 1-time Defensive Player of the Year. While most of the highlights we see from his career are from offensive plays or slam dunks, he was an exceptional lockdown defender. The stats speak for themselves. He compiled 32,292 points, which is the 5th highest of all time, and he averaged 6.2 rebounds and 2.3 steals for his career on the defensive end. MJ's excellence is truly unmatched. Ask any basketball fan and they'll give you countless reasons to justify Jordan's GOAT status. Here are a few more of them. We have to talk more about his finals records, which is actually phenomenal. He went 6-0 in the finals, which is an insane feat that gets even more phenomenal when you hear the context. In the early days of the NBA, there were a few outclassed teams that dominated the court. Showtime Lakers took home 5 titles, and while Bill Russell's Celtics won 11, both those teams lost at the top 2. Not only that, but the Celtics played when the league was young and no one had quite figured it out yet. Jordan played during one of those super tough decades and never lost a single game. and once he reached the top, he thrived there. That ability is what put him ahead of others in the league. It wasn't just success, it was continued success during one of the toughest decades and on the league's biggest stage. MJ's scoring ability is also off the chart. As I mentioned before, he averaged 30 points per game and he scored 50% of those points by shooting. While most players shrink in big games, Jordan only got bigger. Jordan holds the record for most points scored in a playoff game, most field goals made in a game, most points in a postseason, and most average points in a postseason. Those are stats you just can't beat, folks. And now for the big question, who deserves the GOAT title more, Brady or Jordan? Honestly, comparing basketball players and football players is a bit like comparing apples and oranges, but I guess we can try.
Michael Jordan is as great a competitor as sports has ever seen.
That was awesome.
First thing, Brady's ability to consistently win as one of the oldest players in the league is quite impressive. He won his first ring at the age of 24, and he's almost 44 now. His championship window covers his entire 20-year career as a starter. Plus, he wasn't dependent on coach Bill Belichick to win because he switched teams and was just as great. The same can't be said for Jordan. Not only does he have one less championship than Brady, but he was also unable to win a title with any coach other than Phil Jackson. We all remember the Last Dance era, right? But here's the deal. While Brady has definitely perfected the quarterback's game in the NFL, he hasn't revolutionized it. In many ways, Brady represents the old guard in the NFL. On the other hand, MJ has completely changed basketball. His unbelievable talent not only changed the way teams formed their rosters, he completely changed how franchises approach the game. He entered a league dominated by big men in front courts. He left it a shooter's game. Brady can't claim the same. So what do the stats say? Who's better, Brady or Jordan? To be fair, Jordan does have more regular season achievements compared to Brady. We've got 5 MVPs compared to Brady's 3, along with 11 All-NBA selections compared to the others, 5 All-Pro selections. But Brady has something Jordan couldn't achieve, which is winning a record-breaking 7th ring. His 7 championships were spread over the course of his career, making him a consistent winner. But MJ's peak was definitely more dominant, with 2 3-peaks in his prime during the middle of his career. So essentially, we're back to square one. They're both great, and they defined their respective sports for generations to come. Well, there you have it. At the end of the day, both Brady and MJ are experts at the game they play, and both deserve the status of greatest of all time. Their careers will forever be remembered by sports fans. Who do you think is better? I really want to know.